Alright guys, miss me? Oh, maybe not. But I have missed the season, the Premier League season that is, the football season was back upon us last weekend. Obviously, this is the first weekend I'm actually doing some content. I've been off for the whole of pretty well the summer, but we are back and I'm here to talk to you guys and just give you my general thoughts ahead of United's first big test, really, of the season as we go away from home against the top six side. I know, it's scary. We got 1 point last season and that was against Spurs at White Hart Lane. It was a very different Spurs then and it's a very different Spurs now. And we're a little bit of a different team as well. We've had a few additions since then. For the better or for the worse, time will only tell. I'm just going to give you some of my casual thoughts ahead of this game, so don't expect any kind of critical analysis, if you like. Don't expect any, clever points. Don't expect any, really highly researched points. It's just going to be me as a bit of an armchair fan giving you my thoughts. So if you're coming on here for any sort of tactical analysis, I'm sorry, I'm going to massively disappoint you. But I don't want to set up any false expectations. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy it, hit that like button. And I want to hear from you in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts ahead of this game? And I'm sure you've got a lot to say on Manchester United, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. Absolute shambles, I've got to say. Just so many different situations going on, so many circuses happening at this football club, and it's almost kind of understandable to forget that we've actually got a game tomorrow. Like, with the amount of things happening off the pitch, it's just absolutely mental and absolute shambles. I'm not going to comment on those things today, but yeah, absolute shambles from top to bottom, this football club. But does it really surprise you? It doesn't surprise me anymore, honestly. Doesn't surprise me one bit. But we're going to talk about the game tomorrow. At least that's some football to talk about, some actual tangible thing. I can actually watch that. Everything else is just smoke and mirrors and noise. So we're not going to talk about that. In terms of Spurs, I'll start with them. Ange Postecoglou, new manager, looks to be implementing a very interesting style of play. I watched their game against Brentford. Yes, they drew the game, but I actually thought they played pretty well. Defensively, there's still some questions to be asked. I think, apart from Mickey van der Ven, I think I've said that right. Apart from him, their defence is fairly similar. Obviously, they've got that new goalkeeper in goal who I thought had an alright game. Didn't look completely assured, but maybe that's to be expected on your first Premier League run out. We'll talk about Onana in a second. But listen, I think Spurs going forward, whilst they don't have a striker, obviously Kane right now playing for Bayern Munich, whilst they don't have that striker, they will miss that focal point hugely. But, Son, has to step up. Maddison, I think he looks like a good addition for them as well. Basuma in the midfield actually looked really good against Brentford. So there is a shining light for them. Their big players do need to step up, especially without Kane. The limelight's going to be a lot more heavily on them. So they've got to step up. And I think they will see it as a big opportunity. Whether they bottle it, whether they crumble under the pressure, only time will tell. Hopefully they don't start rising up until match week 3 of the Premier League season, once we've beaten them 2-3-0. But yeah, Spurs, I'm looking forward to see how they play against us. I think they've got a really good manager. I do like the way he speaks. I like the way he's quite matter of fact. He's quite relatable in the way he just kind of says it how it is and doesn't really kind of stand down to journalists' questions. He very much, wears his heart on his sleeve and says what he's thinking. So I think that's really refreshing for a manager. He's not trying to play any mind games. He just says what it is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Spurs do this season. As I said, the Brentford game, I thought, obviously Romero scored his goal and had to be taken off with a concussion, but I think, or at least concussion protocol, I think, but I think he's alright for this game. We'll see. I think defensively they've definitely got a place to exploit, and I think they will come out a lot more than Wolves did. I think Wolves played a lot deeper, but counter-attacking wise, Wolves went through us like a hot knife through butter. Honestly, it was embarrassing the way they went through us. So Spurs may look to that blueprint and look to kind of exploit the same thing that Wolves did. But if they do play with a bit more freedom and play the way they did against Brentford, hopefully that means they'll leave a bit more space for us to get into our attacking work. But I'm looking forward to seeing how Spurs do this season, especially under Ange, and good luck to them. But I think in this game there will be some spaces to exploit, and defensively, I think there's still some work to do there to really get up to challenging, especially getting into those top 4 places, getting Champions League again. In terms of Manchester United then, obviously we come into this game off the back of a 1-0 win against Wolves, and obviously a lot of people have seen the negativity. I think that does show that we do have some standards at least. We are not getting giddy just because we won the game, and it was a diabolical performance. I've got to say, probably the worst performance I've seen from a Man United team at Old Trafford get a win, probably since Young Boys, we won 1-0 due to like a 92nd minute Fellaini goal. I remember that game, and I remember thinking, we have just pulled the heist of the century, and the same with that Wolves game the other night. Obviously, the penalty from Onana, that's a penalty. I can't get away from it. He's, nearly decapitated the bloke. I can't remember his name. Dawson, that's it, Craig Dawson. He's nearly decapitated him. So listen, we got away with it 100%. Maybe, we sold our soul. Maybe we just sold our soul for those decisions. Maybe that's a good omen for us in terms of winning the league. But listen, in the end of the day, we're sitting in a position which, points-wise, we're very happy with, but personnel, tactics, and just overall worries heading into an away game against a top 6 side, it's not a great position to be in, especially when you look at the fact that we haven't seemed to be close to bringing anyone in. We haven't, looked to have brought in a DM, or, we're kind of linked to a few players, but again, nothing's really happening. Obviously, you've got the McTominay deals and the Maguire deals not going through, so that's stalling everything. As I said, a few of the absolute shambles mess that we're seeing off the field is obviously impacting what we can do on the field. And clearly the biggest problem was our midfield. Casemiro was basically being left on his own to try and mark 3 Wolves players in every transition, and he was just getting completely blown apart. Not helping was the fact that Martinez got himself a yellow card in the first kind of 10-20 minutes of that game, meaning that for the rest of the game, for the rest of the half anyway, before he got subbed, he was just a sitting duck. He couldn't really do anything. Obviously, Wolves, credit to them as well. I thought they played really well. Probably the best I've seen a side play without coming away with anything. They absolutely dominated the game. Unfortunately, they just didn't have a player to put the ball in the back of the net. Onana made some decent saves, but Wolves will feel very aggrieved, not just because the decision didn't go their way, but they missed a lot of chances. And if you go away from home to to Old Trafford or Anfield or one of these big grounds, and you don't take your chances, there's always a chance that you're going to get bitten. And unfortunately, they got bitten. Good goal by Varane, nice bit of build-up play by Wan-Bissaka linking up with Bruno. But in terms of what I want to see from United, obviously I want to see a reaction. A massive reaction to what we saw. And I do hope that Ten Hag will be, changing some of the tactics that we saw. Obviously, Casemiro, Mount and Fernandes is clearly the first choice midfield. And I wouldn't actually be surprised if he starts that midfield again, just so he gets that message in that I haven't lost faith in you guys. I still think you guys can work. But surely on the training pitch there's been some stern words about not only the performance from the whole team in terms of the lack of energy and kind of the wasted, the poor quality on the ball, the amount of times we gave the ball away, and when we did win the ball up higher up the field, we just made a really poor final pass and gave the ball away, and we got counter-attacked again. So listen, we are a team that is not very good at defending transitions, and we can't just keep giving the ball away. That we're going to get done. We're going to get done if we keep doing that. So I hope on the training pitch that is something that he's really looked at. But in the end of the day, I don't see too much personnel change, because I do think that Ten Hag is the sort of guy that if he's got players that he wants to succeed and is part of his plans, he sticks with them even if they're not having great games. He still sticks by them. So I think we'll see a very similar team. To be honest with you, the only change I can see happening, obviously Martinez is back in. There's potential that he was injured. But But apart from that, I don't see many changes. Potentially, Martial's fit enough. He might go up front. I do think we missed the presence of a number 9. Obviously, Rashford through the middle, I don't think that's going to work for us. He's much better on the left. Much better on the left. And the sooner Ten Hag realises that and notices that, the better it's going to be. He scored 30 goals, largely coming in from the left-hand side. So it's a no-brainer from my point of view. I think we'll see Rashford on the left. We might see Jadon Sancho through the middle. If Anthony is on the right-hand side, obviously Højlund isn't available to play. He's still got that injury. So I think we will see Sancho potentially playing as a false 9 with Anthony on the right-hand side. We could also see Martial go through the middle and Rashford on the left-hand side with Anthony on the right. And obviously Sancho would be holding the bench. We'll wait and see what Ten Hag does, but we haven't actually seen Sancho, Rashford, Martial in a professional game. So if we do get to see that, that'll be a really exciting bonus. But apart from that, I don't think we'll see any personnel changes. I actually think he'll keep the defence and the midfield the same, just to show that faith in them. And then the front forward line, we might see a few differences. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And finally, I'll get on to my prediction before we wrap this one up. Surely we have to be better than last season away at top 6. Surely we have to change something. Surely the mentality has to change. And I think it will change. I think we will see a bit of a reaction, especially a reaction from what we saw against Wolves. I think we'll see a lot more quality on the ball. But I think Spurs will look to challenge us. I think there will be a difficult side. Thank you very much, sir. I think there'll be a difficult side. Especially going forward, they seem to cause a lot of problems with Brentford. They just don't have a guy to stick the ball in the back of the net anymore. So, with that being said, my head is going with a 1-1 draw. My heart is going with a 2-1 United win. So, we're going to rule the heart. The heart is going to rule the head on this one. And I'm going to predict a 2-1 draw. I'm feeling positive. I've got a beer. It's a Friday night. Why not? 2-1 United win. Let's go. Hopefully we get the 3 points and that would be a huge start to the season. Less than ideal performance against Wolves. Let's hope we can bounce back with a superb performance and a performance that is going to kickstart this season for us. We really need that. And I hope that we can provide it, and I hope they're on top form tomorrow. Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford with the 2 goals for Manchester United is my prediction. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, your predictions and thoughts heading into this game against Spurs. And if you did enjoy it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.